G'day everybody and welcome to the House of Mario, the South Australian Nintendo podcast that is backed by 120 Power Star rating. I'm your host Drew Agnew and the doors to episode 216 are open. This week on the show we're going to be talking about the announcement of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. That was, it's going to introduce Generation 9 and I'm pretty excited about it. Going to throw some balls at some new monsters. Going to be a lot of fun, and to talk all about that is my good mate, it's Bryce DeWitt. Bryce, how you going, my mate?
Hi, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. It's good to talk to you again.
Yeah, good to see you, my friend. Good to see you as always.
Yeah, you came over the other day and met my boy for the first time.
I did meet your boy.
My boy?
Your boy.
So that's the best thing about having a son, at least you can go, my boy.
That's right. Yeah.
You can be Kratos from God of War. You can be King Hyrulean from YouTube Poop. You can be whatever you want. Just whatever dad, just embrace it. What type of dad What type of dad do you are you with Arthur, you reckon?
The dad that says, don't climb up on the counter. That's dangerous as hell. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fair enough.
You know.
Don't you get off that counter, boy.
Get off that counter, man. You're going to injure yourself.
Yeah. You are. You silly boy.
Silly boy.
So what you been up to the last week, Bryce? Not much. Just moving on with life. No.
Yeah, you know. Just traveling on as it would be. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gearing up to go back to work tomorrow, so I'm not really looking forward to that. I've had like a couple of months off helping Chantel while she's pregnant, and obviously once Lucas arrived, so don't know, it's going to be a bit of a shock going back to work. Geez, have to do some physical work again. I don't know how to feel about it, Bryce, but it's going to be what it is.
It's all right. I'm sure you'll be fine. I'm sure you'll get back into it. You'd just be like, God, I wish it was just sitting at home and looking after my son, even though I'm getting zero sleep.
Yeah, well, it feels like a bloody full-time job, just sitting at home, patting the baby on the back, trying to get him to burp. Just like, come on, man, get it out.
Man, get that burp out. Do it right now. You're a little trooper. You can do it.
Yeah, well, he gets it out eventually, but sometimes he goes a bit too far and a bit too much comes out, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. I remember it was like sitting on your couch and you were talking about how he projectile vomits or whatever, and you're like trying to burp and facing him towards me. And I had the burp cloth, and I'm just like, all right, protective shield.
Captain America just whips out his shield. Just God, it stinks too, man. Like, you know, I can put up with pooey nappies and all that, but you know, the vomit that's the one you don't want on you.
Yeah, see, I 100% agree. I can deal with poop, but the throw up, I'm not great with.
Yeah, so look, I'm going to be asking you questions. I had Sean Capri on our other podcast to sort of, you know, ask him some questions about fatherhood. So every now and again, I might be just dipping into the old Bryce DeWitt jar and getting some advice. So it's almost a month old. So, you know, what can I expect in the next month?
In the next month?
Just more vomit, more poo, yeah.
I mean, pretty much the same. If his poo hasn't stopped getting darker already, then it'll stop getting darker. You know how like when that starts, it's like black almost. Yeah.
This is great.
Should be right. And then further on from that, I suppose it's sort of just a little more leaning into like the 3-month stage and beyond, where he might start to get a little itch in his gums regarding teeth related matters, and you'll have to start to, you know, deal with teething and stuff like that. Become a bit more aware of his surroundings, probably not too much in the next month, but in the next like 2 to 3 months is when like bigger developments start happening, I think.
Yep.
And then from there it's just like I'd like to say it's like 6-month gaps between all major things for a while.
Yep. And before I know it, he'll be at high school. So cool.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah, that's right. Lucas.
Yeah, I quite liked that little video I recorded on my phone. Was like mashing the A button on Lucas on the Super Smash Brothers character select screen, but I just pan over to him just looking uncomfortable. Trying to push something out one of his ends. Anyway. All right, enough poo talk, Bryce. Let's talk about our Nintendo. Fuck, I always say Nintendo. It's our Guru Geek Outs. I just want to say Nintendo Guru. And speaking of Nintendo Guru, I guess
his name is Bobby.
His name is Bobby. Yes, yeah. It's been the year anniversary of his passing, and a lot of the community has done a real fantastic job of Gaming for Guru, which is a fundraiser they've been doing for a charity. And I just want to say, fantastic work all the streamers, all the content creators have done. I couldn't join in because I really don't trust my internet for streaming at the moment. But to everyone that's joined in, just fantastic job. It's been a lot of fun to watch over the weekend. And also, I guess someone else we want to talk about, which is really shocking. Chantel came into the lounge room the other day and just like, hey, this happened. Oh my God. But Shane Warne, obviously a legendary cricketer, passed away at real early age. Was it 53? Was it?
52.
52. Yeah, that's really sad. Just really young. Like, so yeah. And like, you mentioned that he wrote on Twitter, like saying the passing of the other cricketer.
Yeah. So it was like in the same day we had two cricketers die. Let me just sort of bring that up. It was Rod Marsh. Hold on. Almost Googling, Googling. Yeah, Rod Marsh. I was right. Rod Marsh passed away, and Shane Warne put out a tweet about him. I guess maybe about an hour or two after his passing, or something like that, saying that he's a brilliant man, inspiration to the sport and stuff like that. And then it wasn't 8 hours. It was like 8 hours after that, and he'd passed away, and all of the responses that were in like his comment section were no longer about Rod Marsh. They were all about him, of that tweet. And it's just like, holy crap, everybody was just, two cricketing legends in one day. Yeah, it was absolutely crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's just really sad. So just like, I'm not a cricket person whatsoever, but I think it's just to all his friends and family and fans, that just really, shocking. Anyone that passes away at an age like that, it's just awful.
See, I don't mind bat sports, so like I like playing cricket, but I've never been one to sit down and watch cricket. That being said, when we were kids,
are you thinking beach cricket or like actual cricket when you're
no any cricket, oval? Man.
Okay,
any cricket. I don't mind cricket.
Got a bit of cricket in you, mate.
Oh, dude, I played baseball for years. You know this. Like, I can get behind bat sports. I'm okay with bat sports.
Okay, yep.
But
you just don't like doing the running. You just like smashing balls.
Well, no, there's a bit of fun in all of it. Leave me alone. All right. No, I stopped baseball because they got a pretty, what to me was a pretty traumatizing bit of injury, and my stepfather told me to suck it up. Yeah, it wasn't a great experience, that. But anyway, when we were younger, like his name was household. Like, you'd hear about him all the time on the news or something like that, or it'd always have like, oh, look, he's broken a record or what have you. And it was sort of like, I think like him along with like Adam Gilchrist were just household names for the Australian cricket team. Everybody just knew who they were. And like as kids, that was pretty much the same notion. It's like, even if you weren't into cricket or you were following like professional cricket, you knew who they were just by name alone. So looking at it from the perspective of him only being 52 is quite crazy to me. Like it's crazy that he passed away in the condition he did. He was on holiday at the time. A lot of tribute has been sort of laid forth for him at the MCG. They're naming a wing after him, the SK Warne wing of the grounds. They've got the statue out front where people have left tributes of flowers and of cans of VB and cigarettes and meat pies. just like very Australian stuff. So it is pretty heartwarming to see in a lot of ways. And
I could just imagine like there's just this mound of VB pies and cigarettes. You're like, yeah, okay, no wonder he died of a heart attack. if this is this is his like signature things he enjoys. But he's an Aussie cricketer. I guess you got to enjoy meat pies and a VB.
Look, everybody knew him as a larrikin, and like that was like the term that's been described of him ever since his passing as like the great larrikin, the great Australian larrikin. He was one of them, yeah, I guess it's very very shocking news.
Yeah, that's absolutely sucks. So, just shout out to the legendary Shane Warne and rest in peace and. Wish the best for your family and friends.
Yeah.
So, Bryce, there's been just a big announcement with Pokemon Day. I guess it was last week at this point, but just really, really quite exciting. I guess before we like get into we'll do the other stuff at the end, but let's jump into Pokemon straight away. I reckon because I guess that's what we really want to talk about at the start of this show. But also just to plug.
Who's itching?
Yeah, I'm itching, boys. Just to plug something else, Bryce and I recorded our review discussion of Pokemon Legends Arceus. That can be found later this week. Be releasing
Arceus.
it on... Yes, Arceus. You will be able to find it Thursday on the House of Mario Encore and this feed as well. It'll be on both. So definitely go and check that out. We had a nice hour and like 10-minute discussion about the game, broke it down. At the 15-minute, we got into spoilers, talking about everything. Bryce, did you know that in Legends Arceus, there's actually a little boy that turns into a blimp, and that blimp explodes and turns into fireworks, and the fireworks land on a little girl, and that little girl becomes a fairy and saves the world. That's basically the premise of the story, isn't it?
Wow. Yeah. Spot on. 100% accuracy.
Yep. You'll never guess that I made that up on the spot. But yes,
No,
check out that episode a bit later. But let's talk about the brand new Pokemon game coming out. So we've got one coming up straight away, which is which isn't really surprising. I was sort of gearing up for another generation of Pokemon. I guess when you're just looking at it being like one just come out. But as far as like new generations go, it's been 3 years since the last generation back in 2019. So we were expecting sort of a new game to come out to reinvigorate all the merchandise, the Pokemon card game, all of that stuff that revolves around the brand new Pokemon coming out. Whether you like it or not, it's just sort of how their machine and their cog works there at the Pokemon Company and GameFreak.
Yeah.
Pokemon Violet and Scarlet and Violet, Generation 9 coming out. What's your sort of top thoughts after seeing the trailer?
Listen, I kind of got caught out for this a little bit in the Discord, so my opinion may be sort of sitting on the fence here. And look, I know that I've said that I'll primarily be looking to be more positive about games.
Bryce, just tell us how you feel, mate. You don't have to sugarcoat anything.
Just listen. I'm going to sugarcoat a little bit, and I primarily stand by that. Stand by that, and I think they look good. Listen, I think they look good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think they look good. However, I feel like it's probably a little bit too. I personally think it's probably a little bit too early, reeling off of Legends Arceus, whatever we want to call it. I think they look awesome, but I feel like a lot of the lessons that have been learned from Legends Arceus with its critical acclaim and like the steps it's taken forward and stuff like that, I feel like I feel like there's not enough time between now and then to implement that stuff, or whether they've done it in the process of it, and they're going to try and take time perfecting it based on the feedback that they've gotten. I'm just a little worried that it won't sort of hold water in that regard. That being said, if it does, and it looks as good as it does, then I'll be pretty excited. A lot of people are like, it's not going to be an open world, because like a lot of people made that base assumption based on the trailer. But the tagline for this game, based on its YouTube description and stuff like that, it says, "Welcome to the open world of Pokemon." So that is a very ambitious thing to say.
Oh yeah, like on the website they put open world in there, just like, look, we're pushing it that this is open world. The site reads, the Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet games, the newest chapters in the Pokemon series, are coming to Nintendo Switch later this year. With these new titles, the Pokemon series takes an evolutionary step, allowing you to explore freely in a richly expressed open world. Various towns blend seamlessly into the wilderness with no borders. You'll be able to see the Pokemon of this region in the skies, in the seas, in the forest, on the streets, all over. You'll be able to experience the true joy of the Pokemon series, battling against wild Pokemon in order to catch them. I wanted to say all, but now in an open world game, players of any age can enjoy. So, yeah, so brand new open world, which is exciting because going into Arceus, we're like, oh, cool, open world Pokemon game. They came out and be like, no, it's not. It's just sort of segmented worlds, which is cool. It worked well for that game, going back and forth between areas, and sort of it sort of had that Monster Hunter feel where you get the items you need, put them in your inventory and go out. You run out of items and you're like, all right, it's time to go back and cash in my points and stuff. It had a nice sort of flow to it, but feels like this game might have a bit of a different feel where you're not necessarily going out to level up your Pokedex and stuff. It is very much what the mainline series are all about, is just exploring, collecting badges, collecting Pokemon, all of that, which I'm excited to get into, and hopefully it is the next step. But like you said, though, it's like Legends Arceus, a massive step for the Pokemon franchise. This year, it's like, oh, another massive step. Oh my God, how many steps you taking a year? We're taking the elevator or what? What's going on?
Yeah.
Like it's nuts. Like Legends Arceus, I very much expect that game was meant to be a 2021 game, meant to come out in November last year. Got pushed a couple of months into this year, but I guess with the next generation game, this could have very much started development at the same time as Arceus. So it has that bit longer development time, and also it's a bit more important just with a lot more new Pokemon and areas and that to get out before the anime and that comes out. Which I was thinking about the other day. I really feel like they can just be like, all right, the anime is coming out with a new Pokemon. They got a new card game expansion, but the game will take a couple of more months. Like, that isn't a big deal to me, but maybe they want the reveal of the actual Pokemon in the game. I'm not quite sure. I assume they do, but
yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what they try to follow.
Yeah, I wouldn't be that against them being like, hey, we'll introduce the Pokemon in the anime or something, and you can get the games a couple of months later. But anyway, I think these games look good so far. I won't sort of judge the visuals or anything, because the last couple of games did improve a lot since they first got released. First got revealed until they got released. So I think they look nice. They look like Legends Arceus, kind of a little bit improved, a little bit different. Just the character models are pretty different as well, just like a different art style. People are already getting touchy about that on Twitter. So that's a conversation I didn't want to get into. Someone just tweeted pretty much being like, hey, I really actually prefer the character models in Sword and Shield. And then that got retweeted being like, oh, where were you 4 years ago when all the Dexit stuff was going on? It's like, guys, no one was complaining about the character models. They look fine. They look good even. So I think they were just talking about how the proportions of their eyes look less anime. I think they just preferred the more cartoony aspect ratio of their face. But it is hard though, because we'll talk about this, that looks not quite how I'd want it, whatever. But if it's like, oh, you bloody whinging Pokemon fan base, it's like you can't really say anything. It's a weird position to be in, and when you're doing a podcast where we do critique these games, whether it is Pokemon or something from a third party. So yeah. So you're a little bit standoffish, being like, oh, Jesus Christ, how are you getting it out this quick?
Yeah, I'm again, it's nothing towards the game specifically. I haven't really vibed with the starters like a lot of people seem to have, and I mean that's just personal, and that's fine, right? A starter doesn't really define everything about Pokemon. It's just personally I don't really vibe with them. I'll probably find myself liking them later on when there's a bit more depth to them than just an image. But I think my main primary concern at the moment is that what you said earlier, I think is pretty much exactly what I'm thinking. I think what you said in that statement was 100% what I'm thinking, is they're trying to make too many leaps and bounds at once. When you say, like, because we assumed Legends Arceus was going to be some sort of like open world with maybe a little bit of a boundary, but like more or less interconnected experience, right? And then they had to clarify that. They're like, oh, no, this is not that. And then it turned out to be more like Monster Hunter. And that's not a bad thing. That's fine. And I think like
worked out well.
It serviced well. It serviced great. But to start saying like this is an open world with no boundaries, and given that they couldn't do that with Arceus in its state that it's currently in, which can feel a little bit empty at times, I'm a little bit I'm questioning a little bit sort of like where they lie in that regard.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is like they could have had more help with this, right? It's not uncommon to think that maybe like they shook hands with like Monolith, for example, which is the go-to company to go to when it comes to open world experiences for Nintendo, because look at what they did for Breath of the Wild and, you know, X and
their own series. Yeah, it's just really great standouts of what like their hardware at the time can do, and like GameFreak are in the same building, and maybe a big reason why they wanted to be close to these other Nintendo teams was for this game, and you can see why. I am a little bit concerned about how like the towns and that work within this game, because open world games, they seem to work okay on Switch. Breath of the Wild is obviously the standout title we all point towards and say, hey, this is what the Switch can do. But that game was very much set in a like a barren world story-wise because of its limitations being on Wii U and Switch. I couldn't imagine like a modern Zelda game with like heaps of villages and like robust towns and that going on. So I wonder what it'd be like just walking into a town in this. Well, it's hard to judge because we haven't really seen anything apart from that one sort of glimpse of people walking around a town.
I think Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be like a huge telltale for like how far they can go with the Switch. Simply because like I think like this is going to be sort of in more of a position where more townships in Hyrule are being formed back, and sort of where that civilization is sort of coming back, and then like more travesty happens. But with a Pokemon game, I think they can sort of get away with it a little bit better, because I don't think the areas need to be as big, if that makes sense. Like, I don't think it's going to be like Legends Arceus where, you know, if you see a cliff face, you can climb that cliff face, but you're going to hit an invisible wall, right? I think that it's still going to be sort of relatively confined paths, but they still feel a little bit open in their own area, and then between each town, that's sort of a thing.
Yeah, okay. So it still has routes and stuff, but they're just a bit wider, and you can sort of go through them multiple ways. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that's sort of like what they're aiming for. And I don't think it's going to be quite like Legends Arceus, where it's big open areas where you can just traverse any single way you so please. But I think my primary concern probably lies in like, one, if this is like a traditional Pokemon game and they're going to have like 8 gyms and stuff like that, that means they need at least 8 towns plus the Pokemon League and wherever they decide to put that, right? Now I'm starting to think that maybe that won't be the case. I'm starting to think that won't be the case. I'm starting to think it's probably going to be less, and that big cathedral in the middle of the main city has probably got something to do with it.
Yeah, okay. It just has less. It just has less badges, so everyone's coming from far and wide, being like, "Oh, this Pokemon League's way easier. You only need 6 badges." Maybe that's the draw of the region. It's just easy.
I think it's probably more that like there's going to be like 4 towns surrounding the big town that you'll go and do arbitrary objectives to progress the story or what have you. And then there's going to be like floors to that cathedral or whatever where you're facing off against different parts which act as different gym rooms, I guess, if that sort of makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it seems like a very central point. Like it doesn't just feel like, oh, look, here's a big building, right? It feels like there's more to it. And then you look at like the town square in that particular town that they did a view shot of, and they've got like a very big importance on like that big mosaic of Pokemon types in the middle of the town and sort of stuff like that. It feels more like a central point, like a battle tower.
Yeah, it could.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and like with each area in this 3D environment now, they've got to put a lot more work into actually making it. So they might want to keep you coming back to the one area instead of making multiple areas where it's just like, you know, you just pass through them and you don't really think about it much again. So you can see that. I do hope it is like a very much an open world game where you are exploring lots of areas and it encourages you to go to like every edge of the map, whether it's to get Pokemon or like search out the badges, which would be cool. So yeah, absolutely, really, really looking forward to it. Yeah, all good. So you mentioned that you don't like the starters, Bryce. I absolutely love the starter Pokemon, but at first I got to admit, like the grass starter, Sprigatito, at first it just looks like a fake mon.
Yeah, I agree.
Until you start getting used to it a bit. It's grown on me now. I like it fine. It's my least favorite out of the other two. But what's its name? Fuecoco. I absolutely loved this thing at the start, but Quaxley has like it's right up there too. I don't know what I'm going to choose out of the water or the fire type. And I was thinking, look, I feel like I've got to choose the water type. I haven't liked like the last two water types, the last couple of generations. So I'm quite. We'll see what Quaxley turns into. He probably just turns into a duck on all. I don't know.
I have liked the last two water types.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking that as well. Like, you know, I think you literally picked the last couple of water types, Popplio and Swabble. But yeah, I don't like them. we got different tastes when it comes to Pokemon, and that's okay, Bryce. We can still be friends.
I can't believe you don't like James Bond Lizard. How do you not like James Bond Lizard?
Look, the idea is awesome. I don't like how they did it though. It just I don't know. It just does nothing for me.
He has finger guns.
I know, but it's just.
And his G-Max form, he uses his tail to sit on a tower like a sniper.
Look, everything you're saying is awesome, but
I
looking at it does
Gex.
nothing for me. I named him Gex.
And I named him Gex because that's what he reminded me of, like Secret Agent Lizard. And then Primarina. I remember the argument for Primarina back in the day with Sun and Moon. You were like, oh, it's too feminine.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't like. I don't particularly want one in my Pokemon PC. You know.
You don't want the feminine Pokemon, but you want the big, muscly, clearly non-feminine cat.
I'm not a big Incineroar fan either, to be honest with you. Decidueye makes up for the other two in my eyes as far as Gen 6 goes, but yeah, the last couple of generations I've picked the grass type. So now the grass type is probably my least favorite. Just looking at these initial forms anyway. But
actually, hang on. Okay. Let's sort of do like a mini side thing here then.
Okay.
From Gen 1 to Gen 9, what starter?
All right. I would pick Charmander.
Yep.
Basic bitch here. Charmander or Generation 2 is really hard for me. Chikorita's been my girl my whole life, but it's honestly the other two have risen up to like it's equal. Depends on what day. Generation 3, very hard one. I'm just gonna say Trico or Mudkip. I picked Mudkip was my very first starter. That's honestly like picking my kids. I'm gonna say Mudkip. Generation 4, I'll go with that's hard too. Piplup or Turtwig. I'm gonna go Piplup these days. I always went Turtwig, but it's Piplup now. Don't know why. It just changed. Generation 5 is really easy for me. It's Oshawott. Generation 6 is Rowlet. Generation 7.
Wrong generation.
Yeah.
Generation 6.
Just realised that.
Yeah.
I said Rowlet for Gen 6, didn't I? No, Gen 6 is X and Y, isn't it? Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Gen 6, they're like the most forgettable starters. Trying to remember who I picked.
Froakie, Fennekin, Chespin.
Yeah. I mean, Froakie. I picked Fennekin to start off with, but you can't go past Greninja. You just can't go past it. Generation 7's Rowlet, and Generation 8 is Grookey. Because I like drums. Yeah. What about you? Hang on, what about Generation 9? What one are you going to pick?
Oh,
well, I just said I don't know yet.
No, you have to pick one.
Oh, Bryce.
Where are you leaning? Where are you leaning at the moment?
Oh, Quaxley. We're going Quaxley. Okay.
Quaxley. Okay.
And at first I'm like, oh, it's a silly looking duck. But then it just grew on me so much. Its name.
I just like its name. Its name is good.
Quaxley's like fucking, what a wicked name.
It's a great name. I like the name Quaxley.
Yep.
Like if there's anything I like about the starters, it's definitely Quaxley's name. It's like great.
Yeah.
Yeah, first one. Look, it's Charmander. I'm going to be pretty blunt, and I'm going to pick one for each. But like, there are clear things I'll sort of point out as well. Charmander for the first one. I like the other two pretty much just as much, but I just feel like I've got a lot more memories with Smokey the Charizard. Mm-hmm. Which Smokey was my baby for a couple generations. Generation 2 is easily Typhlosion. They've done my boy dirty for years. Totodile would be a close second if I was younger again, because it was always hard to pick between the two, but these days it's just Typhlosion. Generation 3. I feel like I use Blaziken a hell of a lot more.
Yeah, you seem like a Blaziken man.
Yeah, and plus, yeah. See, this is where you got me with you, because like I remember one of the first emails we ever tried to set you up on Hotmail was Sceptile something.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot about that.
It was. Yeah. I went to set it up for you, and you can't even remember what the password is for that email.
Oh no, God, I forgot I even had it. But Sceptile was my favorite Pokemon for ages. We used to play Pokemon at lunch. Well, we were just like running around pretending we're Pokemon. And I'd be Sceptile doing Leaf Blade on everyone, and people are paying me out because I look stupid doing it. But little do they know they're doing Water Gun and like making a big O with their mouth, looking like they're trying to kiss everyone on the playground. And I'm the one who looks silly trying to rub my arms against people's shoulders, doing Leaf Blade, eh?
This man has repressed memories about being insulted by being a Sceptile.
Yeah, stuff you do.
He does listen to the show every now and then. I hope he is, huh?
I love you, Jordan.
Let's see. Yeah, probably a Blaziken for me there.
That was hard for you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, like I kind of agree that there's a good balance there. There's a really good balance there. Gen 4. See, I'm not a big Infernape person, because in my opinion he kind of ruins.
Oh, Fernape's cool, man. I like Infernape. It's a good monkey.
The thing that annoys me about Infernape is he kind of set a precedence for like firefighting continuously coming back, and I feel like in terms of firefighting designs when it comes to generations of Pokemon, it's pretty much just Monkey Blaziken. I feel like they don't change all that much.
Yeah, fair enough. It doesn't move.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's when you compare it to the next generation, which is going to have one of my clear setups. Anyway, I would probably go with Torterra for that one. I think I like the whole island turtle thing. Generation 5. Generation 5 is so hard for me to pick between Emboar and Superior. It hurts. But I think probably Superior, but I will say that Emboar gets so much shit and it's not fair.
You just talk to me too much. That's why.
No. Do you know how many tier lists I see that people say Tepig is shit? Oh my god, dude.
Hey, Tepig's fine. Just don't evolve it.
Why?
Look, I'm not going to give you shit. This is your choice.
And it's got one of the best shinies in the game too.
Very nice shiny. Yep. Not going to argue.
Very fucking good shiny.
I'm not arguing. Blue Flames are an easy win on a fire type. Easy win.
It's a fucking great Pokemon all around.
Okay,
I just like it.
Yep.
I just like it's got like a good combination design of black, yellow, and orange, and it's a bit of a red in there too. And it's got a fucking really good shiny that sort of just pops out. It's like definitely one of the best in the game. Games, the series, whatever. But yeah, I think Superior's always been very, even though it's not a very good Pokemon in terms of how you can use it, I think it's definitely one of the coolest designs that's ever had. I still remember when they were calling Snivy Smugleaf. I love that shit.
That was those were the days, weren't they, Bryce? A lot less going on.
When they were calling Smugleaf. Yeah, that's right. But moving on, because I don't want to spare Tepig propaganda too much. Shout out to that Twitter page, by the way, Tepig Propaganda. Great page, Tepig Propaganda. Let's see, Generation 6. Generation 6 kind of breaks my heart a little bit because I like Chespin a lot.
Nah.
And I don't think Chestnut is inherently a terrible design, and I think he gets too much shit for what it is. But I also think that Chespin could have been made into something way better than what it is. So realistically, the choices come down to between Greninja and Delphox, of which I both like their themes, which makes that hard.
Delphox could have turned out a lot better. I was disappointed by Delphox when Braxton evolves. Like its middle evolution's really cool. Like then it just evolves. It's like, oh, I'm just a bigger fairier thing. So well,
it's a big fox witch. I don't know what the complaint is. That was the point. It was a polar opposite to the fighting fucking fire types we had for the previous 3 generations before it.
Definitely, that was a nice change of pace. The fighting type went to the grass type, and that's why it wasn't as good. I don't know. It's just cursed. The fighting type curse.
Yeah, that's right. I'm probably going to say Greninja just because I see more use of it.
Yeah,
I would say. And Generation 7 is Primarina for me pretty easily. Incineroar, despite not being firefighting, just went back to essentially firefighting. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, pretty much was, yeah. He's a fighter.
And that's the thing. It's like everybody's just like, please, we don't want to bipedal firefighting. So they're just like, okay, and just slap the dark type on it instead. It's like
it's a wrestler. It's the heel.
Guys. Yeah, and it's like literally a wrestler. It's like, God damn it, dude. I know Incineroar is very scary and competitive at the moment, but I'm not a huge fan of Incineroar. I like him a little bit better now that he's in Smash. I think Smash changed my opinion of him a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Just because he's so fun to play in Smash.
Yeah, it changed my mind a bit on him as well, having him in Smash.
Yeah, but I don't think that changes my spite towards him either. Anyway.
You're just biased. You hate all like the fighting fire types except for your big fat pig.
So does fucking everybody. Well, but that's because he's the best designed one, because he's not just he's just not a thin stick of a Pokemon that doesn't look like he would be technically fucking a fighting type. It's like he's a fucking like sumo pig with fucking big gnarly arms. He looks like he could punch a fucking wall and like smash it into smithereens.
He probably
look at Blaziken and look at Blaziken and Primate. Primate. You know what I mean? Infinite. They have twindly little arms, and the most that they've got going for them that make them recognizable as fire type, fighting type, is that they take fighting looking stances. But fucking ENCORE is built like a brick shit house. He looks like a fucking destroy things. Anyway, my point. Moving on. Shit. And Deejaayy is a fucking amazing design. It's a really good design, but fuck its typing. Its typing is terrible, and it made me never want to touch it really, and it sucks.
It's cool typing. It just doesn't work out in battle.
No, it's fucking terrible in battle. Like you never see use for Deejaayy, which it's kind of shitty. Sword and Shield. Jesus, what were the start? Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Inteleon, easy. Not even a pick.
Fair enough.
In fact, I find it hard to even remember what the other two starters were. Shit. Hasn't been that long.
You forgot him? Grookey and Score Bunny.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's funny how like the last couple was just like polar opposites, us two, as far as our little made-up creature design preferences go.
Yeah. I mean, isn't fucking Cinderace firefighting?
No, just
or is it just pure fire?
Just pure fire. It's not a fighter.
Okay.
It's a footballer, not a fighter.
Right, yeah, but it's still a bipedal animal, yeah, and everybody's still sort of shitty about it. I think, I just like the whole because it fits thematic of the region in the whole like MI6 spy thing, but it also harkens back to days where I used to play fucking Gex the Gecko, which was just a meme.
That's why you like it, because it reminds you of Gex the Gecko. Oh my god!
I named my first Inteleon Gex. Yeah, man.
Fair enough, man.
I know it's a very outdated game now in terms of its references and like maybe its humor and all that shit. But yeah, it was like what Donkey said. You can't make Gex in fucking 2021 because everybody would get offended. And
Gen 9, we've got Sprigatito, Fuecoco, and Fuecoco and Quaxley.
And this is a little tough because like I'm not really fond of any of them. I think Sprigatito probably because I feel like that's something my daughter can get behind, which means that we will probably pick that one together and play through these games together.
Mm-hmm.
Just to sort of like her Pokemon fandom has like spruced up like a lot recently. She's watching like a lot of Pokemon content and learning a lot about Pokemon on her own. Like I don't even have to help her with anything in that regard. Cool. She's like, she's doing a lot to learn about Pokemon, and I think like she's definitely going to fall in that category of Sprigatito. So it's probably like that'll probably be what I end up with. I think Fuecoco's design is very clever, being a little chili pepper. Mm-hmm. And I'm intrigued to see where it goes, but hopefully it just doesn't go to another bipedal thing that completely throws that design away.
It just evolves into a man. It's a firefighting type. Oh my god, damn it!
God damn it! And Quaxley. I'm not huge on duck designs of Pokemon, but so its name is fucking cool.
It didn't capture me straight away as well because it sort of reminds you of like Ducklet from Generation 5. Then if it evolves into just like a water flying type, that'll be really boring. So hopefully it actually has like an inspired design when it evolves. But it has grown on me now. I just like look at it and go, oh, that duck. I love it. Quaxley.
You're going to hear it in the anime. It's just like, good job, Quaxley. And it's like, Quaxley.
Yeah. We audition for the voices. Like, Quaxley.
Quaxley. Quax.
I hope Ash chooses him. Like, go Quaxley.
Quaxley.
Quack.
If he ends up with one, I dare say it'll probably be I reckon it'll probably be Fuecoco this time around.
I think it will. Well, usually like he gets two, then like one of the side characters gets the other one, seems kind of recently.
Tends to be the way. Yeah. Anyway, we can move on from that.
Yeah.
I was just curious to see how your tastes were.
Yeah. Did I surprise you at all?
Generation 3 maybe a little bit because I've always known you as a Sceptile person.
Well, yeah, I like I said, I go back and forth all the time.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's your first generation.
Don't really know. So I just picked my initial starter Pokemon. But
I'm the same with Generation 2. Like, Generation 2 is very much the same for me. That was my like premier first generation of Pokemon, and I'm happy to pick any one of those Pokemon. I really am.
I am too for that one. That's a very tough one. I just went with my childhood favorite Pokemon from that generation, but like these days, yeah, it's a very hard choice. Just on with the game as well. Depending on what version you pick, whether it's Scarlet or Violet, there's two different, I guess, school uniforms your character picks or has, whether it's a Scarlet or a Violet colored uniform. And people are thinking like the main story is like different schools competing against one another, and that's why you might have different uniforms in each version. So the story might play out a little bit different depending on what version you pick. And that kind of makes sense because these characters look a lot more kiddie than, say, in other games. Like these actually look like kind of like preschoolers, which I'm not a massive fan on necessarily. I hope like the character customization, you can just like change your hairstyle and change your pants and just make it look like not a literal child. But because for the most part, like you're technically playing as an 11-year-old, but you don't particularly look like one. Like you look like a teenager.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah.
But these ones who actually look like kids, and I think that's where a lot of people were coming from when people say they don't love the design of the protagonists. But I don't know, there's worse things going on in the world. I'm not too worried.
I think the thing with these two for me is that they not only do they sort of look in that regard, but as well they make a very pertinent point about them having different uniforms.
Yeah.
Depending on which version you pick, which makes me a little bit nervous that maybe character customization probably isn't going to be as robust.
Yeah, like with when they introduced character customization in X and Y, they took it away from us in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire because they wanted to keep it true to like the original designs. But since then, like it's been in every single game, even like the Diamond and Pearl remakes. You didn't have that much customization, but you had like a lot of different outfits to choose from. So hopefully it does stay true in this game because I think it is kind of a staple now. People expect it. I expect it. So hopefully it gets in there. But like just looking at the official website, it talks about introducing the main characters, and the very last sentence is, "Who knows what kind of story awaits you?" So it is very much saying like, "Who knows what kind of story awaits you?" Depending on what version you pick. It's very much putting a hint out there. So yeah, that's all the information we've got so far. But actually, I just want to know, just before we get off the topic of Pokemon, with the initial trailer, how it was getting into it with the guard getting around the torch, looking around. Every reaction video, people were saying, "Oh, Detective Pikachu, this is Detective Pikachu," and that was me as well.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, so I think this was like they were actually trying to get that reaction out of people. They knew full well. Big fans were expecting Detective Pikachu sometime, and so they put more of like a detective mystery sort of initial trailer going on. But when it had the GameFreak logo, I was just like, oh, this okay, cool. Like, not that I didn't want Detective Pikachu, but I didn't want it to be like no update on the mainline games whatsoever. Obviously didn't get DLC for Legends Arceus, so like it's either a new game or nothing at this point, and I wanted a brand new game, whether it's this year or sometime next year. But when it said GameFreak, I'm like, awesome. It's Generation 9. I knew it from there, and then it turned out. And when it popped up onto the screen, I'm like, there it is. Cool. But a lot of the reactions I was looking at, people were saying, I didn't know Detective Pikachu was being made by GameFreak. I'm like, no, you silly geese. What GameFreak make Detective Pikachu? But what were you thinking? You probably thought the same. You were thinking that, were you? After I said that,
I was 100% thinking that. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I'm like, this is Detective Pikachu. This is 100% Detective Pikachu. I even typed it in the chat as it was happening, and then it was like, oh, maybe it's not Detective Pikachu. And yeah, surely enough, it wasn't Detective Pikachu. I was like, all right then.
I didn't mean to call you out then.
You definitely did. your butthole.
I was just, it's just like, they're not making Detective Pikachu. But who knows?
Well, I mean,
one day they might.
They announced a second one a long time ago. It was like a thing, right?
But they did confirm that Creatures is working on that, I believe, and a job opening come up as well for it recently. So it's in development, but
sure, but like, you know, that. Yeah, I don't know. That was just something that sort of like, as soon as I saw it, I'm just like, that has to be it. That, or it had to be like an advertisement for the second movie or something as well. Like that was also a possibility.
True, yeah.
And like, because we know that that's a thing. But yeah, I mean, otherwise, they definitely got me, all right. They definitely got me.
Yeah, no, it was really fun to sort of watch everyone's reactions afterwards because, you know, we didn't really have much to play off of as far as actual content in the trailer. So just seeing everyone's reaction to it, and a lot of people are happy about it. Some people are concerned, and, you know, rightfully so, I guess. But I guess just to ease any sort of worries people have, this is a different team at GameFreak. Like, it isn't like a 9-month turnaround by the exact same team. But like, all right, let's just mash this engine and make a brand new game out of it. You know, it's been in development for a while, and while I can't see it having like just revolutionary just upgrades to the things that we had concerns about in Legends Arceus, like a lot of my concerns were technical as far as Legends Arceus goes, and I don't see that being changed in this. But who knows? Fingers crossed. There's still development time, so just fingers crossed.
We can hope.
We can hope. So yeah, I'm personally looking forward to it. And Bryce is, you'll play.
I'm not saying I'm not looking forward to it, but I just have my concerns, and I think like because of the way sort of things have been in the last few generations, I think it's still valid to have concerns. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to be on Twitter for the next 3 months being like, fuck this. Oh, I'm so angry about this. You know, like I'm not about to I'm not about to be a part of that sort of crowd, but like I feel like the concept of Arceus was not as explored as maybe as it could have been with some DLC and sort of like additional content. And I think like now that this has been revealed, like this is it for the next few months. Like they're not even gonna. I'm not even sure if we'll see any more short updates like they did with Daybreak with Legends Arceus. They'll just move on to really sort of pushing this out and making sure that it's at the best quality it can be, which I, you know, kind of hoping. But at the same time, I kind of wish that if they chuck the buzzword open world out there, that maybe they would give it a bit more time to bake, because with things being the way they have, I'm worried it's going to come out a bit half-baked.
Oh, well, we'll find out in November, I dare say. It's got a release date of late 2022, but we can expect like the 18th of November, a Friday sort of in November, I would assume, unless they need extra time and it becomes December. But yeah, expect November. Yep. All right, let's get into the rest of the news, Bryce. We'll get through this nice and quick, and then we've got just a couple of questions to answer in Reggie's Rec Room, because we have to go there to answer the questions, Bryce. We can't do it in this room. It's a bit too dingy.
Yes, true. Yeah, we need a whiskey.
We do need his whiskey.
We do need a whiskey.
Yeah! Pika, pika! Is that all?
I fight for my friends.
Yahoo!
My body is still.
All right, so first off, just nice and quick, Bryce. This is just a nice confirmation for us two and anyone else out there who's a big fan of Next Level Games, but it is confirmed Next Level Games is making Mario Strikers Battle Football, or Battle League Football. So thank God for that. Take a big breath. It's okay, Bryce.
Yep.
Camelot
big sigh of relief, guys.
Camelot is staying away from this sports title. Thank God.
Big sigh of relief.
And also the sort of president of Next Level Games as well is stepping down after 19 years. Douglas Tronsgaard, who was the president of Next Level Games, the studio behind Luigi's Mansion 3, and worked on a bunch of games, obviously the Strikers, Punch-Out reboot, and a bunch of stuff at Nintendo. And Yeah, it's interesting because they just got bought. So what this means for the, I guess, the future of next level games, not quite sure. I guess maybe Nintendo just will be handling it, or who knows. Obviously, the structure is going to change a lot after the acquisition. If Douglas feels like he can step away with all his cash, so good for him, I guess. Hopefully, the quality of their games stays up to par with what they've been, but I dare say they will. Otherwise, Nintendo's just throwing money out for no reason. Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah. There's also been a demo release for Kirby and the Forgotten Lands. Haven't played it yet. I've got it downloaded, but I'm looking forward to getting into it. This game looks really cool. The previews dropped. A bunch of websites released their previews, including Vooks.net, and it looks like a lot of fun. There's like a lot to it. You expect just like maybe like a platformer where you go from level to level, but in the direct, like it showed off like a hub town that you're building and heaps of collectibles, and you're upgrading your abilities. Obviously, you got mouthful mode, which adds like a lot of sort of context to puzzles and stuff in the world. So I'm really looking forward to this one. This is going to be sort of a really nice, fun game to dig into, and like 3D Mario games, just take your mind off, explore the levels, collect all the stuff, and I'm really looking forward to it.
This is the Odyssey of Kirby. Like, there's no question. So
it's like the Mario 64 of Kirby. Like,
no, look, yeah, nah.
No, a bit too far, bro. So sorry, mate. I'll shut up. All right.
No, I'm speaking from the level of like the level of variability, right? Like Mario 64 is a very one-track game. Like you've got a very particular move set to move around a level. There's very particular ways to move around that level. But with this, it feels like there's a hell of a lot more going on, a hell of a lot more to do back at the home base and stuff like that. I just feel like it's that sort of a neat upgrade.
I get where you're coming from. I just meant like the evolutionary step. Obviously, Mario going from 2D to 3D, that was like a massive step. And I feel like, Kirby, it got like a really, really nice, unique games, whether it's on DS or Game Boy Advance and that, but it never really got that massive sort of leap to like, modern games like 3D. So this is his time to shine, where a lot of like Kirby games that have come out, even Star Allies on Switch, a lot of people just went, oh, cool, I might pick it up for my kids or I might play through it, but it wasn't like a title. Yeah, I never picked it up. It's like one of the only first-party Nintendo games I haven't got on Switch. But, I sort of just looked at it and went, I don't need that. But this is, I think Nintendo fans are actually looking at this going, hey, this is actually a Nintendo game I need to get, myself included. So looking forward to it. I'm kind of thinking to myself, should I just not play the demo and just get my experience when I play the game? I'm kind of thinking that. Depends on what I feel like. But it's downloaded, ready to go. I've got Triangle Strategy to dive into as well. Got that downloaded, so I might just have to play that. Also, we got some actually pretty solid rumors, well, leaks from NVIDIA about another model of the Switch. We're not going to go into it here, but we will just say that NVIDIA leaks mention NVN2, NVN, and a Switch graphics API, and it's sort of hinting towards new technology in another Nintendo handheld. So if you guys want to go and check that out, I've got a link to my Nintendo news in the show notes, but we don't have to talk about it here. But these, NVIDIA's had massive leaks within the last year or so. It's leaked a bunch of games, big list, and every single one so far has become true. Even some of like the more weird ones, like God of War and a few like PlayStation games for PC were on that list, and they all become true. As well as like a couple of Square Enix games. The Chrono Cross remaster, that was on that list. So there's something going on at NVIDIA where they're having massive security problems, but that's why I look at this and I go, look, it's probably true, because NVIDIA, they've been leaking like crazy recently, but I probably expect this to come out in another couple of years, I would say, and the Switch won't necessarily stop. I feel like they'll support it, but maybe with backwards compatibility on the next console. That'll be good. So yeah, do you have anything to say about this NVIDIA leak, Bryce?
Yeah, the NVIDIA databases are like the fishing trawler in RuneScape, and anybody that gets that reference will understand.
I don't, but I imagine just like a fishing trawler with fish dropping off of it. Spoilers from. All right, there we go.
Spoiler alert: if you're ever going to play a fucking 15-year-old game, the fishing trawler is a mini game where you have to simultaneously fish and fix the boat at the same time.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right, and a big acquisition was made by Nintendo, but it's not necessarily a sexy headline. So Nintendo has acquired SRD, which is a development team that they've been working for years. They're even located inside Nintendo's own building, but they've basically been like second party developers that have been working with Nintendo for a long time, and they basically acquired them to just to, I guess, tighten up their
internalize it completely.
Yeah, their system. I dare say, like, them not being owned by Nintendo 100% meant like a lot more paperwork here and there, and just sort of made it a little bit like harder as far as their internal stuff goes. I don't think we'll see much on our side as far as the consumer goes, but it's interesting because it's just it's always funny because if you're a PlayStation fan, like, oh, look, my favorite company just bought Bungie. Oh my god, that's massive. Like, ugh. But here it's just like, look, we've bought Next Level Games. We've been working for them for 20 years, or working with them for 20 years. And also our SRD, just like, it's literally just like buying your foot. It's like, okay, well, I've been using it for years, but it's officially mine. I don't know. It's just like it's just not a very sexy headline. But as far as big nerdy Nintendo fans go, it's just an interesting bit of trivia, I guess. But yeah. So Bryce, that was all the news. That's pretty much it.
Oh wow, that was very fast.
Yeah. So let's get to some Red Coin recommendations. We actually got a decent. We've got a couple of decent games. I've got one that I'm really looking forward to, and I've got another one which I've got no idea what it's about. But I saw it in the eShop like a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, I might look into that. It's $20 though, so I don't know. Is that throwaway money? No. We'll have a read. We'll see if I'm going to get it. So first up is A Musical Story. A Musical Story is a rhythm game set against a 70s backdrop. Explore the memories of Gabriel, a young man trying to become to terms with his situation through the connections of his muscle memory. What's Bryce doing? He's like emptying a thing of Smarties there or something. A Musical Story is the... Jesus, I'm going to turn him down for a minute.
Get in the freezer.
Jesus Christ. A Musical Story is a debut game from the independent French developer G Cheese Studio. They are Charles Barden and Maxi Conistan and Vaxen. Foreign names, I can't read them. Anyway, so yeah, this game looks interesting. Looking from the screenshots, just like really cool art, and I just want to like know what the music's like. I need to see it in person of how the actual rhythm game works. And Bryce is back. It sounded like you were emptying this like Smarties into a jar. I didn't know what you were doing, so I turned you down there for a little bit.
I was emptying ice into a glass.
Oh god, oh good, you're good. Yeah, so I can't actually tell what this game is, but it kind of looks like Rhythm Heaven in some ways, where like you're going through a story and there's like different rhythm games to sort of partake in as you're going through a narrative sort of adventure, which looks pretty cool. So 10% off at the moment, $20.25. Might check that out. It's on my wish list at the moment. Next game is Triangle Strategy, a big one that's being published by Nintendo, I believe. Yes, it's being published by Nintendo. I just have to check that. So it's a tactical RPG that will challenge your convictions. Command a group of warriors as the heir of House Wolfort has in a tangled plot where your decisions make all the difference. Key choices you will make will bolster one of three convictions: unity, morality, or liberty, which together will make up the worldview and influence how the story will unfold. So I'm looking forward to this. I'm not like a big strategy game fan necessarily, but I do just enjoy what Square Enix are doing with this 2D, 3D art style. I think it's awesome. I want to see it in more games, especially old Nintendo games, especially Pokemon. I'd love to see that. But I want to give it a go, see if it captures me. I really want the tactical genre to get me. So hopefully this game will. Sean Capri and I will be doing a review on it when we get around to finishing it. But Bryce, I know you're not like a massive tactical fan, but I thought this might have caught your attention a little bit, but no, not really.
Nah, not really. I'm not in the mood for a tactical at the moment, like at all.
Yep. No, fair enough. But in the future, do you see yourself having a go, or not really?
I haven't really looked into the info about it, so I'm not 100% sold on it or anything. So I'm kind of just like sitting on the fence of like, do I really care enough right now, or am I going to really care enough right in the future when there's probably like a new Fire Emblem or something coming out? Like I'm not really sure.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll see.
Fair enough. I might play for like 2 hours and be like, I should have just played the demo instead of buying the game, but who knows? Actually, yeah, speaking of Fire Emblem, are you going to get Fire Emblem Warriors this year, or going to give it a miss? No.
I have a backlog of Warriors games I need to play.
Yeah, well, same here.
it is getting to that point where I've got a backlog of just one series to play. I'll pass for now. I'm good.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I'm exact same boat. And this one was just a random one I picked up. Is Street Cats Race. $15 on the Australian eShop. We know kitties love running around, but a cat racing game is the first of that sort you will see. Play as a cat racer.
Garfield Racer.
Yeah, well, that game's been pretty cheap lately. I've been looking at it about, is it worth $10? No, it's not. Play as a cat racer, running through many different levels and terrains on the streets and buildings of the city with many obstacles along the way. Get the lead over other cats and unlock new tracks. Enjoy the funniest adventure you'll find today. And looking at the screenshots here, look, it looks like a waste of your money for $15. I can't even tell, like, is that different angles each screenshot? So I'm not quite sure. Some are like just overhead, some are a bit more to the side. The graphics look like something you might expect on, I don't know, it looks like just bad 3D models, but don't know. The description didn't sell me, but I did find the first sentence funny. But a cat racing game is the first of that sort you will see. Yeah, so I guess it will. So thank you. Thank you very much to the publisher Nerd Games for bringing that one into the world. Yes. All right, Bryce.
Yes.
That's that. Let's get into Reggie's Rec Room. We haven't been to Reggie's Rec Room in a couple of weeks, have we? Well, a long time.
No, we haven't.
I don't even know if we've been there this year.
Yeah, no, we haven't yet. No.
Hi, Nintendo fans. Reggie here.
Hello, Reggie.
Thank you for your never-ending support, for giving me a mushroom kingdom full of incredible memories that I will never forget. Ever.
Alrighty, Bryce. Here we are. We've got a couple of questions. I just asked for some questions in the Discord. Oh, what do you got there? You got some cordial, or is that your whiskey? You're not going to answer me, are you?
Listen to it. Listen. What's that? Ah, yeah.
I actually can't hear the pouring. I can just hear like the glass clanging.
Good, yeah. That's all you need.
That's all I need. All right.
Then bit of.
Oh, I can hear that one. That sounds good. Look, you're making me thirsty. I got no drink. Oh, I got a warm bottle, a warm stubby of Kraken here.
One that was there the other day.
Yeah, that's still there. Should I drink that? Nah,
sure.
Nah, I've got to drink that cold. They're expensive, those Kraken stubbies. I'm not going to.
So you just leave. Yeah, you leave it on the studio floor.
I'm not going to crack a. Yeah, that's right. No, but it'll cool down. All right. So let's get into the first one. So this is from Eggmod on the Discord. Does the knowledge of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet coming out in November give you any reason to doubt Breath of the Wild and Bayonetta hitting their 2022 release dates? Yeah, so I was thinking about this. This year is a massive year. Like, this is the 5th year of Nintendo Switch. Happy birthday, Switch. Congratulations. A nice little object for your birthday. But yeah, it's going to be a massive year, and with these games coming out in November, it kind of makes you think, like, when are we going to get Breath of the Wild especially? I think it won't affect Bayonetta's release. Bayonetta is one of those titles Nintendo is going to slot in when their games aren't coming out. They're going to put it in maybe October or even September or something. Not quite sure, but I think Breath of the Wild, not sure. I don't know how Nintendo will think about it because I don't think it's going to each game is going to affect either one, to be honest. Pokemon's got its big fan base, and obviously Zelda's got its big fan base as well, and they overlap with people like us and probably a lot of us who listen to like podcasts like this. But I don't think they'll overlap enough to be like, okay, we're going to keep them away. I wouldn't want to put them in the same month though. That might be a bit much for any consumer to like, all right, I'm going to play through Pokemon. If it's all right, time to jump into a brand new Zelda game I've been waiting 5 years for as well. I'm not quite sure, but I think they can both come out this year. Just depends on how soon they can get Breath of the Wild out. Is it going to be just like a big sort of crunch to get it out November, or is it something they can get out October or September? But what are you thinking?
I don't think so. I don't think it's going to affect much.
Yeah.
The reason I'm sort of sitting on that fence really is that I think that Breath of the Wild 2 was supposed to come out last year. Personally, I think that was their original intention.
I think it was too. Because we know with Horizon Forbidden West from Guerrilla in the PlayStation studios, that game got delayed to this year. And I feel like Breath of the Wild 2 was probably on a very similar timeline, just with how those games come out right next to each other. So it's easy to compare them that way, I guess, but it probably was meant to come out that year as well. But you can see this year, there's just a lot of delays would have happened before the announcements of a lot of these games, and they're all coming out this year. It's just a crazy year. Because I would have loved a couple of these games just to be put into the couple of previous years, because honestly, I didn't have much coming out I was that excited for. Like 2020, I was like, oh, Pokemon DLC, Animal Crossing, and that was kind of my games on Switch that I was like really excited for. And 2021 was a little bit better, but nothing too much. But this year is just like there is no sort of drought as far as content.
Do you know what I think the culmination of this really is? I think the reason we have so many games this year is because we've just gone through like the COVID years, right? Mm-hmm. The last 2 years have obviously been very restrictive on how teams can move and do things and stuff like that. But I also think that out of the games that are currently coming out this year are games that have also there are games that couldn't be done without a team or the collaboration with a bunch of people. But there's also things that they could have worked on outside of it. And basically what I think has happened is a lot of these games have just lined up in development time because of it. Yep. And it's just happened to pinpoint straight to this year where they're all basically just like, right, we're ready to come out. And that's sort of just how it's gone. If we didn't have COVID, I think this would have been an entirely different scheduling. And I think that I think Splatoon, Splatoon 3 probably would have still come out this year just for gap purposes. Mm-hmm. Between 2 and 3. Breath of the Wild, I believe. Splatoon, I would have easily believed it would have been coming out in like March this year. Breath of the Wild 2, I would have easily imagined coming out last year. What else? Pokemon is relatively on track. Fire Emblem Warriors 2, I think probably could have come out to fill last year.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know how many teams they've got developing those games, but I guess Age of Calamity, that came out 2020, so it's been a couple of years. So you can see them turning those types of games around in 2 years.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of games that just happen to have line up in development cycle just out of like their ability to either work on them at home or sort of depending on how games are particularly handled in their particular thing. Like for example, with Breath of the Wild, I don't think that's a game that they could feasibly change much without having a whole team involved at once, which is why it got pushed back. Like if they're developing, like if they're midway developing a dungeon, right? And in the last 2 years, they're just like, oh shit, it's like we got the COVID restrictions. And in that dungeon, there's like like specific physics that you have to take care of, and then there has to be like boss designs and the way that the temple interacts with you, or you interact with the temple and stuff like that. I think there's way too much components in there that like you couldn't make a change without having to inform another set of the team to work around it. But like for stuff like Splatoon 3, like for example, right? If you've got a few people working on the hub of the game, like Incopolis basically of Splatoon 3, I don't think it's unreasonable for just like a few people to like bounce back and forth through Skype while they're developing different portions of the hub, whether it be like art style or interactivity and stuff like that, and sort of working on that in their spare time from home. That doesn't require a huge collaboration. Yeah. I think something like Breath of the Wild requires that much more of a thing. So I think they've already put a delay on it, and they're probably not willing to delay it anymore. I think it probably will come out this year still. And Bayonetta, it's hard to tell what Platinum Games is really doing at any given time, because they always seem to have their hands in every mitt lately. I'm not sure what it is, but I think like that's delayed Bayonetta a bit, just in and of itself. But I think it's also time for that game to come out too. So
yeah, it's definitely time for Bayonetta. That needs to come out. I think they just need to be ready for the right time. They can't wait until November, like going up against just even Call of Duty and stuff on other consoles. But even Nintendo wise, they can't be there with Pokemon and potentially Zelda and God knows what else has been confirmed. We still got other games that are probably going to get announced at E3 time. Not at E3 because there is no E3, but I am expecting a June Direct still. So yeah, it's going to be an awesome year.
It's still, it doesn't matter what way you look at it. There is still going to be like a set week where that information is just due to drop. I think it's tradition at this point. It's something that they gear up for every year. So I think you're right. About the same time as usual. Yep.
Hopefully we do get those games, because I want my wallet to suffer. All right. So another question we got from Mettadox in the Discord, and we've already touched on this a little bit, but Mettadox basically asks, with the brand new open world and the brand new Pokemon games coming out at the end of this year, do we expect sort of a different change to the gym system to happen? You did mention that you think there might be the sort of central area where you're progressing up the tower, getting the badges, and that's definitely a plausible idea. I personally think that we probably will get the gyms how they exist now. Like that's personally what I hope, just so then we got excuses to go to like lots of places on the world map and all that. That's my personal hope. Otherwise, it is very much go here, come back here, and I find that kind of gameplay a little bit boring. Like we've had that in, say, Phantom Hourglass and stuff, where you're going to like the central area and progressing up there, and it just doesn't feel as big and as open as you would want from an open world Pokemon game, this is the first one. This is our first taste of it. So I would like it to feel a little bit more open than having more places to go to, but not too sure.
But I mean, I think that's exactly why I said it earlier, is why I'm cautious about them touting that word open. Like I'm starting to get a little bit concerned, because like as promising as it sounds, a lot of these things don't really come without a price when it comes towards Pokemon, right? So it could be an open world, but that open world might only be 4 towns with a central hub town. And whether that sort of affects things, and like the obvious like sort of I guess focal point being that giant church like building in the center of town, like that's huge building.
Maybe it's just someone's big house.
Oh yeah, it's the Pope's.
I could see it being like the Battle Tower or something. I'm not. It's like the Prism Tower and X and Y and stuff. They get like the big buildings that are like very iconic to that country, and make it into something.
Make it into a gym, yeah. But I don't have a lot of faith in the words open world I feel like there's going to be a catch-22 with that.
Yeah.
If Breath of the Wild didn't pull it off and like have way more going on than what it does, like, yeah, I don't know. I just, unless they've got Monolith Soft helping that, like, that's where it really comes down to. I feel like they need Monolith Soft on this if they're going to make something like that work.
Yeah, and Monolith, they aren't busy. They've only got their big RPG coming out in September as well, so they've got time. They've got time to spare. They probably do actually. Probably just twiddling their thumbs. But like GameFreak,
they're masters of the craft. They're probably not even sweating.
Nah, not even sweating. Easy, isn't it? Easy making an open world RPG. Easy as piss. Yeah, I think that's
so easy.
I think that's actually all the questions. We actually didn't have that many questions, but everyone just decided to talk in the topic requests.
I mean, let's have a look at it anyway, shall we? Let's see.
Also, a plug for the House of Mario Discord. There's a link in the show notes if you'd like to join us as well. Talk about some things and some stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Mettadox ended up replying to the first question from Zach saying, I personally think that Breath of the Wild could be October or December game like Mario Odyssey or XC2 was. And yeah, I think that's plausible. I'm kind of thinking October, probably. Personally. That way it's on the shelves well before Christmas, so people have it on their wish lists and, you know, they can sort of spend money on it at that point in time. Whereas, like, you know, you get a lot of parents, if it's like Breath of the Wild 2 is out December 12th, and then like a lot of kids are like, oh yes, put that on my Christmas list, and then parents walk in on like December 5th, like doing all their Christmas shopping early. They're like, I would like Breath of the Wild 2. They're like, that does not come out for like another week and a half. You know, like,
yeah. Can we see them putting it out in December? Is that too late for them? Do they want a major title out that late? I know they've done Super Smash Brothers on Wii U in December. Like, they're not afraid of it for massive games. I think did Ultimate come out in December as well? I think it might have. Like, they just, you know, they do give sort of a bit more time to these massive titles if they do need it. So potentially, yeah. And like, honestly, I don't feel like a game needs to come out in December. Like, if you want it out before Christmas, people are still doing Christmas shopping, and if a kid wants it or whoever wants it, it'll get bought like in December still. I don't know why November's such the big time. I guess it's because of Black Friday in the States, isn't it? That's the main thing.
That's right. Yeah. I think October's prime. To be honest. Like, I think October is prime time for Zelda. We've got another comment here from Jamie that's his thoughts on when games are coming, including ones with known dates. So March, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. April, Nintendo Switch Sports. May, nothing. June, Mario Strikers Battle League Football. July, Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. August, Splatoon 3. September, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. October, the sequel to Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. November, Pokemon SV. And December, Bayonetta 3. And I think that's probably where my mind is also sort of sitting, personally.
Yeah, that's a pretty logical sort of way to look at it, I feel. Yeah.
Again, you know, October just seems to be the prime time for Breath of the Wild. I wouldn't put it in December, personally, if I was running a company. Like, it's just too close to Christmas, realistically. You need it to sort of be on the shelf already before then. Yeah.
And like, if it does come out October, realistically, we're looking at like a big reveal for the game, the name, and everything sort of to do with like the new mechanics and that at June at their presentation. They'll hopefully still do. So it's going to be a pretty quick turnaround between like knowing a lot more about the game and getting it in our hands, which is exciting. It kind of takes us back to what Bethesda did with Fallout 4, where, you know, you got the announcement when it comes out a few months later, which is nice, because just like being on the merry-go-round for all these game releases, you know, it gets a little bit much when you're an obsessive gamer. It's been like, oh, I can't wait for this. Like us in the Pokemon community, just been like, oh, Legends Arceus, wait for that for literally a year. That was fun. Like, get the announcement for another game. Oh, back on the merry-go-round. Fucking the Pokemon merry-go-round is vicious, man.
Meta says He thinks Splatoon 3 might be earlier than August, just a gut feeling. And Jamie comments, I just don't want Splatoon 3 to do what Mario Strikers to Mario Strikers what Splatoon 2 did to ARMS.
Yeah, just kill it.
And I understand that concern, but listen, if I don't want to I don't want to make Splatoon fans upset, but I think Splatoon is a fine game, and it's already a more recent game.
Ooh.
So if you're going to give me the choice of picking between the two, if they're at the same time, I'm probably picking Strikers. I will obviously buy both, but if I have to buy one and like get one later, it'll probably be Strikers first.
Yeah, look, I think Splatoon's established enough. They've got their fans, they've got their support. That series is going to stick around. We've got to put our money where our bloody mouth is, Bryce. We've been yakking on about Strikers for years. Goodness gracious. If we do not support this with our own cash and we pick a Splatoon or another game instead, we're a bunch of deadbeat bloody liars. So, yeah, we'll have to pick Strikers regardless of what's coming out at the same time, even if... Jesus Christ himself just like beholds himself upon the earth. I'm like, oh, well, we're still playing Strikers, mate. Sorry about that. We're not going to, no resurrections going on here.
And then there was another question you missed here. With the addition of mission rewards for platinum points, will they finally update the missions for My Nintendo?
Oh, yes. This is something we didn't actually touch. It's actually a kind of a neat little thing they did for the Nintendo Online membership. Basically, you're able to redeem platinum points for multiple missions, and they're pretty simple. It's just like play a particular game in that month and blah, blah, blah. You know, it's pretty straightforward stuff, but you're able to redeem avatars and frames and backgrounds, and you can mix them all together for your Switch icon instead of just a generic one that you get a choice out of on the actual system level. It's pretty neat. At the moment, it's just Mario Odyssey and Animal Crossing characters that have their birthday in March. And I looked it up. I'm like, my favorite Animal Crossing villager is Filbert. And Filbert, his birthday is in June. So Drury will be waiting for June to get Filbert on his icon, that's for sure. And look, I think it's very fitting. I fell in love with Filbert and Wild World, and it just happens we share the same birthday month. Like, this little squirrel just keeps getting better and better in my eyes. What a nice young man. I cannot wait to make him my icon. His dead eyes will be representative of me every time I go online. So I can't wait for that. But at the moment, there's nothing that gets me too excited to swap my icon. It's just like, I noticed on my friends list, everyone's got like the Mario Odyssey Mario with like just like some weird frame. I'm like, I don't like the look of that. I like the idea, I like the concept, but everyone's got the exact same thing now, and I don't particularly, doesn't jive with me that much. But let me guess, after I settle that, like I've done throughout the whole show, you're like, oh, I've got Mario Odyssey Mario as my thing, and I've got a nice little ring around it.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, fuck you.
Do you really?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
I've got to wait for you to talk first before I actually jump in.
Yeah, you're a dickhead.
I'm like, oh, Bryce, what else can I offend you with?
I was just doing it as a test and couldn't be bothered changing it back.
Yeah, fair enough.
I wanted to see how they look, and yeah, they look all right.
Looks fun. If I had my Switch, I'll go and check your profile. I'll judge your icon, and I'll judge it very harshly.
No, fuck off.
One's just been like Breath of the Wild Link for the whole time. I'm like, yeah, I don't know what else I want to change it to.
In regards to the actual question, though, will they update the missions for My Nintendo? You know what? Probably not. They will just continue to have the ones on the NSO app, the weeklies and the dailies, and they will just expect you to do them for your points. Mm-hmm. And they won't give you any more extra opportunities to get more.
Yeah,
I can pretty much guarantee it.
Look, it's cool they're giving out more features and more incentive to be a part of the membership, but it just goes to show what we said a couple of weeks ago, as like this service has no direction, no idea what it is. And it just shows, like, every now and again, they're like, hey, there's this kind of weirdly baked in feature. It was like, why is this coming now and how it is? It's just like really strange. Like, why is it only Mario Odyssey characters? Why don't they have like a bunch more franchises rotating around each month. Like, I don't know. I don't know. It's cool. It's cool. But when I heard missions, I'm like, oh, is this an achievement system? Like, there's so many things where I'll just really wish I'd bring the Switch. Maybe themes would be cool too. Themes for platinum points. Could you imagine that, Bryce? Personally, at the moment, I'm rocking the black theme. Really nice. Every now and again, if I'm feeling ambitious, I'll change to the white theme. But after rotating them around a couple of times, I'm getting a bit bored after 5 years. I'd like maybe a blue theme, even a pink theme, so people can walk into my house and just like question my sexuality based on the color of my TV. You know, there's lots of
Nintendo. Give this man a magenta theme. Magenta,
yes. Look, I'll take anything at this point. I'll take just a brown theme. Just make my TV look like sludge. Just. A red theme, just like burn my eyeballs every time I turn on the TV.
Burn the plasma into your TV.
Yeah, exactly. Just really ruin your TV. I just don't know. Anyway, it's a cool feature. I don't think they'll do anything to it apart from rotate pictures on it that you can add as your icon. I feel, but they'll move on to the next thing. They'll add another feature to Nintendo Switch Online that you can actually voice chat on the console. Wouldn't that be a interesting idea? Instead of making you get out your mobile phone, which literally has another 1,000 apps to use voice chat on, which you'll prefer to use. I don't know. That question got me on a bit of a rant. Sorry, Bryce.
Lovely.
Mm-hmm.
And otherwise, there's more talk about Splatoon. With the final comment that I'll probably mention is Delfino Durian says, my Sploon friends are theorizing July 2022 for Splatoon 3, since that's when summer break starts for schools in Japan, which I could definitely see. Yeah, that's definitely a thing that could happen.
Yeah, I'm expecting it for July. Just it seems like a good time, and Splatoon 2 came out July as well. So
yeah,
why not?
Yep.
Yeah.
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 All right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. You're up. Yeah. So that brings us to the end of the show, Bryce.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to say before we go?
Remember to brush your teeth before you go to bed.
Yeah, thanks, Bryce. I actually forgot, but I will definitely brush them before going to bed. You don't want stinky breath for your partner or even your dog that wakes up and jumps onto your bed and licks your mouth. You want it to taste nice for your dog. You want those lips to be reminder of its nuts. It's like dog biscuits, not its nuts. I call dog biscuits nuts, but not literally its nuts. We're not talking about dog's nuts here in the House of Mario, that's for sure. Anyway, everybody, thank you very much for listening to the House of Mario episode 216. If you enjoy the show, go and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever you listen to your podcasts on. Would really appreciate it. And just a reminder that later this week on the House of... Encore at the House of Mario, we will be having our Pokemon Legends Arceus review discussion, which will also be posting here on this feed. But if you'd like access to the other episodes as well that aren't review discussions, definitely go and check out that feed. Very much appreciate it on your podcast platform of choice, or even the podcast platform you don't like. Don't know, just do what you got to do. If you're against your humanity that much, well, can't do anything for you. Bryce might be able to. He's a good man. He cares about you. Don't you, Bryce?
Listen, mate, I'm not a pastor. I can't sit there in a confession booth and listen to your sins.
You are you're not a pastor.
Yeah.
You're a spaghetti.
Yeah.
Oh, I got you there. All right, I'm obviously a dad now, aren't I? All right, with that, everybody, thank you very much, and we'll catch you later.
Bye-bye.
You just listened to The House of Mario, a South Australian Nintendo podcast. Be sure to follow the boys on Twitter, leave an Apple Podcasts review, and join the Discord server to be a part of the community. A big thank you to these legends who support the show on Patreon at the producer level: Alex Harding, Sam Hay, and Deejaayy. If you would also like your name in the credits, head over to patreon.com/iDrewby and choose the tier that works for you. Until next time, we hope your day is 120 Power Star rated.